Good morning, everyone. Today we are on the topic of overcoming obstacles. And really what it is more of is just kind of getting out of your way. Those of you who've had obstacles in your business, I want you to look at it kind of in a different way today, because most of us probably look at them in what I have in this next picture, which is this, right? So when we talk about obstacles, there's obstacles we have in our life, in our business, in our relationships. I mean, all aspects of our life, right? We have an obstacle. Today, we're going to look at obstacles that are specific to our business. So let's look at it this way. We're kind of going down the road and we're like, yay, we got our training. We know what to do. We're going to learn how to teach classes. And we first start teaching our classes and we're heading down that road, right? And all of a sudden, this big rock just lands in the middle of the road. And you're like, oh, man, like, what do I do? And that's what it feels like to us. And some of you may have obstacles like you were teaching classes and now people aren't showing up, or you can't find anybody to host a class. That's a big obstacle. Or maybe you have somebody on your team who said, yes, I want to do this as a business, and then 3-4 months down the road, you put them in like an important spot and then they stop working. That's an obstacle. And it feels like this huge rock just landed in this path that we had perfectly set to get to our goal, and then we can't do anything, right? Am I like making any sense here? You guys feel that? That obstacle is just this huge thing that's on our shoulders. I've been through this, done it. So we're going to talk about this today and what we're going to do about them. So why do we get so frustrated when we hit obstacles in our business? Now, I put this picture on here because many times recently my obstacle has been the computer. Like I'm working on it, all of a sudden it won't work anymore. I'm trying to move something, it won't move and it won't cut and it won't paste, and it just shut down. I lost everything and I feel like I just want to punch the screen, which is so perfect in this picture. Like he's got it right there, that frustration. And it's so hard to not just get so mad and scream and want to wring somebody's neck or punch the computer, right? So why do we get so frustrated when that rock hits the road? Why? What is it? Well, that frustration actually comes from our perspective, how we see it. I know you guys are going, really? We're going to talk about perspective? No, that's not the whole thing. However, it is a part of it. So how we look at the obstacle really is going to make a big difference on the outcome. So let me share with you a little bit of what I'm talking about. Most people don't understand the relationship between failure and success. That's why they're not achieving their goals. Success requires struggles and meeting obstacles. Okay, let me read that again. Success requires struggles and meeting obstacles. You're going to have obstacles and you're going to have struggles. As a matter of fact, you won't have success unless you have those struggles and those obstacles to overcome. The positive you want in your life will be the side effect of you handling the negative. So in other words, it's going to happen. The struggles are going to come. You're going to meet obstacles in that road. They're going to come. As a matter of fact, if you never meet them, that means you're not being successful. So if we can look at these struggles and these failures and these obstacles and the things that we're doing as, oh, I have to do this in order to be successful. This is just comes with it. This is part of the plan. This is what I was supposed to do. Then our mindset changes and we think, okay, it's here. I knew it was coming, so what am I going to do about it? You see how that shift in how you think about it really makes a difference in what we do? For instance, that rock on the road. So say, for instance, you are driving right down the road and that rock comes in your way. You could sit there and go, what? This rock is totally bothering me. Get out of the car and just sulk and sit there and wait for something else to happen, or go there and kick the rock. You can try to push it out of the way. Is that going to help you in any way at all? No, it doesn't. It doesn't do anything. But if you look at it and go, you know what? I knew this was coming. I knew that there was going to be this struggle. I knew that rock was coming. I just need to figure out what I'm going to do now. And that shift in that perspective of how we look at it will make the biggest difference in your business and in your life. So I want to say that bottom one here again. The positive you want in your life will be the side effect of you handling the negative. So that's so cool. The positive we want is the side effect. It's not really the thing that we're going towards. It's when we're handling those negative things and they're getting in our way, the side effect is the positive and the success. I love that perspective and how we think of that. And what the shift it makes in my mind when I just think of it. Hopefully that makes that little shift in your mind as well. So here we go. I think a lot of people think that you're either going on this road to success or you're going on the road to failure. So if you look here on the left-hand side, say we're standing right here on this little path, and we're like, do I want to be successful or do I want to fail? And all of us think at some point in our life, we felt that we're going to be successful and we're going to take this road, and we're going to travel down, and ta-da, we made it. Those of you who have been in life for a little while know that's not how it works at all. Successful people meet roadblocks and detours, they fail, and they do not have an amazing fun time the entire time to success. There's a lot of things that we have to learn along the way. So it looks more like this, like we did a detour, have to turn around, go underneath, go a different way. Oh, there's another fail. That's really what life is going to be like. So when we look at these obstacles that we're up against, make sure that your mentality is, okay, this is what I knew was coming. What am I going to do about it? Okay, so let's really talk about this. I want each of you to get out a piece of paper and let's write down what some of your obstacles are right now. Now, you may have some obstacles within your personal life. We're going to talk today about your business. Okay, so just take a few minutes, list some things that are obstacles in your business right now. And I will give you about 2 minutes. Okay, let's see here. Whoops, too fast. Then I want you to share them. Okay, so once you've written them down, I'm going to open up the chat, and I want each of you to tell me in the chat, or as you are writing them down, go ahead and put them in the chat, and we can talk about them. I think it's good for all of us to know what other people are struggling with so that we can kind of go, oh, I have that struggle too. Oh, okay, I'm not alone in this. Because sometimes we think, I'm the only one that's struggling. Everybody else is just doing wonderful and amazing, and why am I the only one? You're not. We just don't know what everybody else's struggles are. So the more we are open and talk about this, the better it will be for all of us to be able to move and go forward and just do something about that rock instead of kick it, right? We're going to do something about it. Okay, so let's give you a few more minutes or seconds or to be able to write down your obstacles. I'm actually going to go in the chat. Let's see if we can look and see if there's something to talk about. Okay, so just go ahead and write down what are some obstacles. One of them might be that you have a person who's not working anymore and they said they would. That's a huge obstacle, very legitimate one. So if that's one of them, go ahead and write that in there. You may have a spouse that's not supportive. That's definitely an obstacle. You may have some classes that you've been doing and people aren't showing up, they're not interested, or maybe you're teaching classes but nobody's enrolling. That's an obstacle. Maybe perhaps there are some other issues that you're dealing with, trying to think of what they might be, and I've been through all of them. You don't have enough time. That might be a good one. Okay, Sherry says, time. Okay, we just talked about that. Doesn't have a lot of time. Maybe you have a full-time job, right? Primary job obligations, spouse's health issues. Okay, that's good. When your spouse has health issues, you spend a lot of time helping and taking care of them. And you want to do that. That's definitely an obstacle. Lost a whole leg and is now rebuilding it. So Adele, when you're talking about a whole leg, you're talking about your business leg, right? Not your personal leg, even though you were just in a car accident. Yeah. Okay, I totally get that. So you have a leg that just kind of fell out. It's not really doing anything, and you have to kind of rebuild that. Yep, definitely an obstacle. Absolutely. So Jennifer Burke says time. Time is definitely a big obstacle because this is a business you have to spend time on. Brooke says getting more classes on her calendar. Huge, yes. Melissa Pollard, time. And the fact that she doesn't have any builders yet. That is definitely an obstacle. When you feel like you're the only one building your business right now, that can be an obstacle. It can also be a positive thing as well, because you don't have to rely on anybody else and what they're not doing. You only have to rely on yourself. So could be looked at both ways. Don't have any builders yet, time issue, people flaking out, classes not going the way you thought they would. Okay, excellent. Too much responsibility. Okay, Jennifer, I want you to clarify what that means. Too much responsibility. In other words, you feel like you have a lot of responsibilities in your life. Is that what you're saying? And maybe you don't have enough time? Or is it a lot of responsibilities to do the business? So clarify with us a little bit on that. All right, Kaylee says, people are not willing to host classes. People are following through with what they say, and they're going to do. Oh, people not following through. Right, yeah, definitely an obstacle, Kaylee. That's awesome. All right, Starla says she's lost a whole leg, doesn't have time for classes, all kinds. Yep, very good, Starla. Okay, Jennifer clarified that was correct. Too much responsibility in her life, not able to spend a full amount of time on it. Good. Okay. Jennifer Burke says that she's expected to be able to do too much. Got it. She was just clarifying. Okay, I think you have a really good list here, everyone. This is awesome. Let's move on. And I want to make sure you have those written down because we're going to do something with that list in a little bit. Okay. All right. So we've shared. Now I want to share something with you here. This is called the circle of influence. So that list you made, is going to put it to the side a little bit. And I want you to really open up your ears and listen to what we're saying because this is the biggest part of what you're going to learn today. Each of us have two circles that we live in. We live in the circle of concern and our circle of influence. The circle of concern are things that we have absolutely no control over. They happen in our lives, but we cannot control them. Some things that we can't control or do anything about are other people, okay? The other people are going to act the way they're going to act, and you cannot do anything about it. The weather, the fact that it rained in Arizona yesterday, we have no control over that. The fact that it might be a little bit cold or outside might be mud on the ground. We can't do anything about that. That's just the way it is. Things you did wrong in the past. Okay, so if you've made mistakes in the past, growing up just a few months, you can't do anything about it, and there is no reason why you should continue to think about it, worry about it, because there's nothing you can do. Okay, another one would be how other people treat you. Okay, you have control over what you're going to do after they treat you that way, but you cannot control them. Okay, so those are some important things to look at in our circle of concern. Now let's look at our circle of influence. These are things that you can control, okay, or change. Your attitude. Love that. So no matter what happens to you in your life, you have that choice to decide how you're going to look at that situation. Your attitude can be, oh, awesome. Okay, here's what I want to do. Or I'm going to be mad and go kick that rock, right? You have control over that. Your mood, very similar to your attitude, but you can say, I don't want to do anything today. I'm mad. Such and such bothered me, and now I'm going to just be mad. Your reaction to good and bad things that happen and how you treat other people. You have complete control over how you're going to treat other people. Now, there's a long list on both sides of these, but I think those are pretty legitimate if you understand what I'm talking about. What we need to worry about is our circle of influence. We have to focus on the things that you can change or influence. That is this center section right here. This circle of influence is exactly where we need to live our lives. Many times, we're out here. And we are so frustrated and so mad over things we really can't do anything about. And that is what causes the most frustration in our life, is when we're hitting our head against this brick wall or this rock in this situation. We see a rock that's landed as the obstacle on that road, and we go up and just hit our head and just go, this is not working, this is not working, I hate it, we want to kick it. That's a circle of concern. You can't do anything about it. We've got to live in our circle of influence. That is what's going to make the biggest change in your life. So how many of you on your piece of paper wrote down things that are really out of your concern? Okay, out of your concern and out of your control. Did you mark some on there? If there are some things that you realize, I don't have control over that. Let's talk about this a little bit. Maybe your spouse is not really supportive. Do you have control over him? Nope, you're going to mark that one off. Okay, let's talk about some of the things you put on your list. Okay, a lot of you put time management. Let's look at that. Do you have control over your time management? You actually do. So don't mark that off the list. You have 24 hours in the day, just like I do, just like anybody else does, and you get to decide how you're going to spend that time. And many of you who have a full-time job, fabulous. I'm not saying to cut that out. Do your full-time job, but the rest of the hours that you have available, how are you spending that time? Okay, so don't mark that one off. People not showing up to classes, do you have control over that? You really don't. They get to make their own choice. You're going to mark that one off. Okay. Let's look at some other things that are on that list. There might be something about how many classes you hold. Do you have control over that? You do. So you're going to keep that one on the list. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the chat. I'm going to look at some of these things that we have here. Let's kind of see if there's something that we can look at that might be able to help us. Patience. Okay, you have control over patience, being incredibly flexible, and I'm used to having me time. Okay, so those are two things that you actually do have control over, Sherry. I wouldn't mark those off. Okay. People not following through, Kaylee. Yeah, actually, you don't have any control over that. Don't have control of other people, so you need to mark that one off. Adele, Casey says she decided to move on and build a new leg. Awesome. That's perfect. So the fact that she looked at that leg and realized, I can't change them, I can't do anything about them. You can try to support them and do other things, but truly, you have to move on and find out what are you going to do about that. So good job. Good job, Adele. So right now, I just want you to focus on what you're going to mark off on the list, okay? Look at things that are out of my control, don't have any control over that, and I'm marking them off, okay? So hopefully you've marked through enough on there. Let's move on. Okay, anybody feel like this sometimes? Like you're just in a box and you cannot move. This is what it feels like when you concentrate on things you really do not have control over. So when you say things like, people aren't coming to my class, people aren't enrolling, that's a frustration that's real. And it's putting yourself in a box because you can't control them. You can't decide whether they're going to enroll. You can't decide and make that decision for them if they're going to come to the class, right? So some of those frustrations, you really just need to mark off your list. We're going to do something with them, so don't get too discouraged and go, but no, we're going to work on them. But I want to help you get out of the box of this frustration. You have to learn a new way to think before you can master a new way to be. So right now, if there's a lot of things that were on your list that were really out of your control, it feels like your brain is on this first one over here. Just all over the place. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I can't organize anything. I can't change this. I can't do that. I can't do this. What am I supposed to be doing? But once we actually change, and what I'm going to help you learn, your brain starts to function like this, because you all of a sudden feel free. Like, oh, I do have control over this and this and this, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So let's talk about it. I want you to get out of the box, okay? We're going to help you get out of that box so you don't have to feel the frustration of all the things that you really don't have control over anymore. We're going to stop focusing on the rock. You can't move the rock. That rock is way too big and too heavy. There's nothing you can do about it. So stop focusing on the rock, okay? So what are we going to focus on? Here we go. Look at that list of items that you marked out. And I want you to do something, okay? How can you step out of the box and find things that you can do that are within your control? Let's talk about it. So the things that you wrote on your list that you do not have control over, this is where we're going to spend the main part of our time today. A person on your team isn't working. Let's talk about, you can't control them, but what can you do? So this might go with what Adele was telling us, where she said a whole leg just kind of fell apart and stopped working. She decided to build a whole new leg and concentrate on that. Awesome. Those are things that Adele can do that are within her control, and that attitude of, you know what, can't fix that, I'm going over here to do that. Perfect. And that what that does is that makes your brain think, I'm free. I can do something. Now, there's other options she can do as well. What she can do is, for instance, maybe there's a person on the top who stopped working, okay? What she can do is go down below and find somebody within that group who is working, who does want help, who maybe, if you reached out to them and said, you know what, do you need help? Can I help you learn how to teach classes? Can I come mentor you? Whatever it might take, you have control over that, okay? That is awesome. So find something else you can do within that person who may have decided they're not going to work anymore. Okay, let's get number 2. People don't show up to classes. All right, you can't change them. But what you can do is maybe look at yourself and go, maybe there's a reason why they're not coming to the classes. What can I do different? Number 1, did you advertise it really well? Did you do the 3 contact method? Did you talk to the host about her doing the 3 contact method? Did you make a really cute invite? I have seen many times that people make, I'll even make them an invite, and then they print it out in black and white and they cut it, you know, it just looks like it wasn't really done professional. That's the number 1 turnoff. I will be so honest with you. I get invited to some things, and number one reason why I go is because I had a cute little invite. So that invite is huge. So if they're not showing up to your class, number one, look at the invite. How did you invite them? And even if you talk to them in person, that one contact of how you invited makes a big difference. What are you doing at your class? If somebody came to your class and they felt that maybe it was a little boring, and so they told their friends, you don't go to that one. She's not very exciting. I'm not saying that you are boring. I'm just saying you can look at yourself and make some changes. Make sure you improve on your class. Make sure you're following up at the end. Make sure that you did that 3 contact method. You're going to look at yourself and decide, what am I going to do differently at my classes so that people show up? Okay. All right. Number 3, my classes cancel. So you held a class, you're all excited for it. 2 days beforehand, they say nobody's coming, and they cancel it. Do you have control over that? No, you don't. So what can you do? Well, you can step back and look at the situation and say, did I have contact with them? The number one reason why most people cancel their class is because they weren't 100% sure you were actually going to be having the class. Because they heard from you at the class and never heard from you again. So they're thinking it's probably not that important to you, and I think I'll just cancel. That is the number one reason people cancel. If that's you, take a look at that and what can you do differently. Another reason people might cancel is they have a legitimate reason in their home. Somebody's sick. They had to go out of town. And it may be absolutely nothing that has to do with you. Your job then is to just call them back and say, hey, I want to reschedule with you. I'm excited. This class was so fun. I was looking forward to it. Do something different. And it may also be that they just truly were interested and it was you who wanted the class more than they did. Again, change your focus. What can you do? And move on. If that's really not what they want, move on and find somebody who does. All about your perspective and how you think about it. Okay, number 4, I have small children that make it difficult to work. You cannot change that. Having small children is a blessing in your life. You don't want to get rid of them, right? No, we want to keep our kids. So what can you do? Well, I'll tell you some things that I did. When my kids were really little, I would actually have another lady who was a friend that lived close by, and she would watch the children, and I would actually pay her in product. And sometimes it was only just 2 to 3 hours a day, and I got a lot done during that time. So that's what I could do, right? I didn't have money to pay her, but she wanted some product. So it was great. Find somebody who can do that. Nap time. Are you using nap time efficiently? If they don't take naps, wow, you got to do something around that. But there's always, always something you can do to be able to work your business, okay? Spouse does not support you. Can't change how your spouse works. But what you can change is what you are saying. Are you being positive about your business, or are they hearing complaints from you? We have a choice over how we talk, right? Are you telling him? Are you including him in what you're doing? Again, you can't change him. You can only change you. Make sure he's included in the positive things that are happening in your business. Make sure he knows. Make sure that part of, if you get a check, he knows what it's spent on, how it goes, and include him and get him excited. Say, my next check, we are going to use it for date night. We're going to use it for something that might include him. That might get him a little more excited. And also just be patient on that one. Sometimes they just have to wait for them to come around, and it's okay. They're all on their own time schedule. Okay, the last one, you have a full-time job. Now, this is one that I heard many of you say. You have a full-time job, a lot of time commitments that you just really cannot spend on doTERRA. I hope many of you have heard the training that I did on the Power Hour. If you have a full-time job and very little limited time, you need to making sure that you're doing a Power Hour every single day. That Power Hour is huge. Just set a time, even if it's 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. If you work a job, you most likely have a lunch time. 30 minutes on your lunchtime, 30 minutes after work, 30 minutes at 7 o'clock at night. Those 2 things are going to move your business forward. And then look at the time that you're spending. Do you come home, you watch TV? Nothing wrong with watching TV. But what I'm saying is maybe prioritize that. How much time are you spending with whatever it might be? Just look at that. Make sure that the times that you're spending on your business versus home is not being wasted and it's being very efficient. So hopefully that gives you some idea of some things that you can do that are those that are out of your control. Take them and decide, what do I have control over about that situation and what can I do? Okay, again, we're going to go back to this. Now that you've learned a little bit different, can you see how living in your circle of influence can change everything? Your attitude, your mood, your reactions, and how you're going to treat other people can be the biggest difference in your life. So change your thinking. So here we come up on a brick wall. You're going to stand there and you're going to sulk and get mad and get upset and say, what do I do? They're not doing anything. No, go get a ladder, climb over the wall, dig a hole and go underneath it. Find a bomb and blow it up. Whatever you decide you're going to do with your business is up to you. And that's how you deal with obstacles in your business. So here's a list of some things that you do have control over. Let's just kind of go over them a little bit. You can control your beliefs. You control your attitude, your thoughts, your perspective, how honest you are, who your friends are, what books you're going to read, how often you exercise, the type of food you eat, how often you take vitamins. Could you imagine if just these things right here, we actually decided and made a good choice on these because we have control over them, how our lives would change? How about how many risks you take? Ooh, that's a big one. A lot of us like to stay in our comfort zone and not get out and make those risks. How often you say thank you to the people in your life, how you express your feelings, whether or not you ask for help. I like that one. How often you smile, the amount of effort you put forth, how kind you are to yourself. That's huge. Do we take care of ourselves? Are we doing what we need to do to make sure we're filling our buckets? How kind you are to others, how often you say, I love you, whether or not you ask for help. That one's in there twice. I must have liked that one. How you invest or spend your money. That can be a huge source of frustration for many people because you thought, I don't ever have any money, I can't pay my bills, I can't do this, when truly, you're in charge of how you spend your money. So look at that. Are you investing it and spending it wisely? You have complete control over that. How much time you spend worrying, how often you think about your past, you cannot change that. So you really, truly have to just stop and let that go. All of us have made mistakes. Whether or not you judge other people, whether you try again after a setback, how much you appreciate what you have. We are so blessed where we live in this country. I think many times we forget how blessed we are, and we truly need to appreciate that. Whether you decide you're going to give up or not, how hard you work, whether you meditate or not, and what you eat. So it's just an idea of some things that you have. Also, that gives you an eye-opening, like, oh, yeah, I'm not doing so good on that, or I'm excellent on that one. So I have a question. What animal thrives in living in a circle of influence? You guys know? Have any idea? Okay, let's talk about it. Be the ant. So how many of you ever tried to put the skids on an ant? Truly, it's just virtually impossible, right? They never stop. You can put something in their way, put a log, put a hole, there's the grass, whatever it might be. Whatever it takes to get to their destination, an ant will find a way. So when we're looking at our business, I want you to think, I'm an ant. It doesn't matter what comes my way. There's going to be a log right in front of me. There's going to be grass that's so tall. There's going to be a dog that comes, whatever it might be. Nothing will stop that ant. It just keeps on going. No matter what obstacle is placed in its path, an ant will keep on going. So we want to be an ant. Be an ant. Okay, obstacles, just erase them, block them out. You guys got this. Okay. And that is it for today. So next week, there is no training. It's our retreat. I hope many of you are joining us. By the way, if there's anybody on here who feels like, I wanted to go to the retreat, I just couldn't get out, couldn't do my time, we're actually looking at making this live stream so that you can actually hone in and watch it. Now, it's not the same as being in person, but I wanted you to know that that is an option for those of you who thought, oh, that's not something that I could do. Okay, is there any questions that any of you have for me after watching this, listening to this? Any insight that you might have? I tried opening it up to everybody talk last time, and it was so loud. So I'm just going to have you ask questions in the chat, if that's okay. So here we go. So Melissa says, I work full-time and I put a calendar event on my work calendar every lunch specifically for my power hour. Love that, Melissa. After my son goes to bed, it's when I spend some more additional time. Excellent. That is taking control of what you have, truly, because you want to spend time with your son while he's awake. That is very important. So lunchtime and then after he goes to bed, that's awesome. Very good. Any other questions you might have or insight from what you've learned today about obstacles? You're either all typing really fast or you've learned everything you need to know. So there's one thing that I want you to really, truly take to heart. Okay, Melissa's going to try to unmute herself.
Okay, can you hear me?
There you go. Yes, okay. Hi, Melissa.
Good. I do several online classes because I have a market outside of where I live. And so one of the challenges I was having was actually getting people to participate early on. I usually get one to three good participants in my online classes. So I made some adjustments in there. I do more videos. I do some live things during the week-long class. But one thing that I started to create, because I was having some of my hostesses weren't participating as much as I would hope. So what I'm starting to do is create a it's called the Hostess Lounge. And so it's a group specifically set up for me and the hostess, where I actually provide guidance as to what she should be posting and when she should be posting during the online event. So
I love that.
So I create specific graphics, I coach them in, what they should be talking about. Let's say like day 2, I'm talking about, a specific set of oils, or, something around a specific, I'll just say ailment, but I can coach them to talk about, how she could or does use those things in her personal life. So I find that when the hostess participates more, so do her guests. Otherwise, it becomes just me posting a bunch of random stuff that, what seems like nobody cares. So, I created this hostess lounge where I can give them the tools that I want them to have to be able to participate and get more participation.
That's a fabulous idea. So again, notice that Melissa can't change other people. She can't change what they're going to say, what they're going to post, what they're going to do, whether they're going to host a class, whether they're going to participate. But what she could do was make a hostess lounge, which I think is brilliant, and let them know, here's where you should post, this is what you should be doing, and kind of encourage them and help them along the way so that it's a positive thing. That is an excellent way to be proactive and work in your circle of influence. Love that, Melissa. Thank you. So Diane says, nice idea, Melissa. Love the hostess lounge. Seems that our obstacles can be overcome by keeping our why in mind. Very good perspective, Diane. If you have a strong why that you keep directly in front of you, nothing is going to keep you from reaching that goal. So if it's strong enough, you will find a way to make it. And that is an excellent observation. Thank you, Diane. Is there an obstacle that maybe you have in your life that we have not talked about? Anything that you would like to present that maybe we can help you with? Okay, looks like you guys are awesome. Sometimes I find that the people who are on our trainings are the ones who are probably already doing this. And it's maybe some of the people on our teams that need to hear this, right? So yeah, good perspective. Please back up and see Jen Burke. Okay, let's go see what she said on here. Oh, my attitude. I love this. Thank you. My attitude is a little too good. I think that I can do more than I can. Very good. Okay. So how many of you kind of feel like that? Like you think, I can take on so much. I can do this. I can do this. And woohoo. And then I'm assuming you kind of hit a brick wall and go, oh, I really can't do all that. Is that what's happening, Jennifer? Or you really think you can do and it's happening for you or not? I'm going to assume that that's the obstacle, is that you think you can do too much and just you hit a wall and realize you can't. Yep, just doesn't get done. Okay, anybody have maybe something that they could help Jennifer with on that one? I mean, I have a suggestion. For me, I have to put everything out on paper. I'm a type of person, like I want to see the whole picture. Show me how it works, and then I have to break it down and say, is that legitimate? Is that something I can do? It's actually a really good problem to have, Jennifer, because to think that I can accomplish this, this, and this, and this means you're being very positive with yourself and your life, and that's a good place to be. Not being able to accomplish it can be kind of a downer, but hopefully it's not holding you back from getting a lot of things done. Melissa says, ditto, my list keeps growing and growing and growing, but I don't have so much time to do it all. Yeah, very true, very true. I have the same thing. If you can see my board behind me is the huge list, and I'm not getting it all done. So I think the fact that we have a list is also a good thing. Sherry's a visual learner too. Visual, yes, so am I. I have to see it and show me how to do it, not just tell me about it. Yeah, very true. Okay, I think we've just gone through everything. Thank you. You're welcome, Sherry. Okay, thank you all for being on the call. I hope this was helpful for you and that we've been able to kind of get through some of those obstacles and be able to change our brain and realize the things you can do and not get stuck on the things that we really can't. So, all right, thank you all for being on the call, and we will not see you next week, but the week after that. And if there's anything that you would like to learn more about, let me know, because that one has not been decided on what our topic is. So I am open to any kind of discussion. All right, thanks guys. We'll see you later. Bye.